that's the one that I used to play with as a kid. My stepdad had one that he had built and used and all that stuff, but I would always take it and play with it as a cap gun. Not that it was a real cap gun, but
all right.
Back in the 80s,
I've gone live, by the way.
Oh, lovely.
I just integrated it in.
Hot mic Saturday.
So, welcome live from the crossroads of America to a talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. Answer questions from the audience. Just put them in the chat or email me at Rickslifeasiseeit at gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. We are broadcasted on gun channels and YouTube. I have a Patreon page. All the info's down below there on YouTube. So if anybody's interested, all my audio files are on Podbean, iTunes, and Stitchers. This one will be on within 24 hours of the show ending. So there we go. Let me in. Who's in the chat? We got Rich White was here first. Then we got John Brown Productions. Sabrina's here. Midnight Range is here so far. Oops. That's right. My cats are around my feet here, and I keep kicking them, and they keep running away. We got Patriot. How you doing, Patriot?
I'm doing wonderful. I have a turkey belly.
Then we got the Kingpin, he might have to drop out in a little while. But he's here right now.
How's it going, Rick? How's it going, Patriot? What's up, everybody?
Yeah. And we got Southpaw X is coming to the chat. I just hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Stuffed yourself and done all the shopping you needed to do. You still got Cyber Monday to come. So there you go. I had a nice quiet one all by myself, which was fantastic. It's the way I like it. You can wear what clothes you like, which is just fine. And I cooked myself roast potatoes, roast beef, and Brussels sprouts. That's what I had for my Thanksgiving dinner. And it was nice. Put some, got some English mustard for the roast beef. It tasted really nice. So I didn't have. The one thing I forgot to buy was horseradish. So I just used my English mustard, which is just as good. So Kingpin's dropped out because he had his appointment he had to get to. So hopefully he can make it back before the show's finished. So, all right. As my title to the show says, I got nothing. I really haven't. I've been. I don't know. I've been trying to stay away from the news all week. I've been trying to, because I don't know, just getting me down. I'm getting not getting depressed, but I'm getting down, thinking about Second Amendment, what's happening, and all this kind of stuff. And so I try to stay away from it all. But I did happen to notice that today I was scanning the Fox News webpage, and up in the state of Washington, a woman was shot by her husband in a school parking lot. And of course, he walked right through that restraining order and shot through the windshield and the side window. I don't know how many times she was hit, but they said she's still alive. The police chased him, and he shot himself. So there we go. Rich White, no Yorkshire pudding. No, I didn't make any Yorkshire pudding because besides the horseradish sauce, I had no eggs. Stupid me, I should have thought to buy some, or because what I did the night before, I made myself an English short breakfast for dinner, bacon, eggs, and that kind of stuff, fried bread, and I used up all the eggs in that. So, oh well, never mind. My Yorkshire pudding, I'm getting better at it. I mean, I've been terrible at cooking Yorkshire pudding, but Actually, yeah, go on.
That's a bread style pudding?
It's made with flour and eggs,
Huh.
and you bake it in the oven, and it gets all fluffy.
Like custardy?
No. It's to eat with your actual. It's not a dessert.
Oh, okay.
It's the years it was invented. Well, wasn't invented, or I don't know what the correct word was. It was used as a filler because
okay.
meat was scarce
Yeah.
and everything else.
Rationing and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not. I mean, it's good stuff. But from Angelina, from Alan Anchor, her father is English, and she knows a lot of the dishes that I know. And she told me the secret to Yorkshire pudding. She said use a cast iron,
Yeah.
thing to use. So the only cast iron thing I got is my frying pan. So when I make it, I got an 8-inch, it's an 8-inch or 10-inch cast iron frying pan. So I make a big Yorkshire pudding. I don't make the little cupcake type. I make one big one, then cut it up into pieces. So
That's pretty good.
oh yeah.
Well, I made my orange and cranberry relish, but that was my daughter and I kind of put that together. But I don't have a food processor anymore. And just for everybody's reference, yeah, the blender will not make it. It just kind of makes a smoothie, which is not the same.
Okay.
So I ended up using a hand chop, one of those things that's like a cup or 2 cups, and you shove the stuff underneath, and you put a cap on it, and you flip it over, and you pound the top of it, and it chops it up. So we chopped up a bunch of huge navel oranges and 2 pounds of cranberries and sugar, and threw it all together, and it was good.
Okay. Your buddy Midnight Range
Uh-oh.
says Yorkshire pudding is kind of like a savory beef souffle, like a super puffy bread sorta.
Okay.
So
Nice.
there you go. That tell you. I mean, it's real simple to make, but I know the secret is. I mean, you put a little bit of grease or oil in the bottom of the pan, and you put that in the oven, and you get that super hot. That's one of the secrets. And the other secret is, when you mix the batter up or the mixture, let it sit out there, get the room temperature, and you get the oil real hot. When you pour it in there, stick it in the oven, and don't open. It's like any souffle. You don't open the oven for the first 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it goes flat and it won't rise. So there you go. How did we get onto a food channel?
I don't know.
It's
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you're right. So anyway, I don't know if he's here, but did anybody do what I suggested? Turn the turkey upside down so you have those nice juicy breasts. Oh, what was having a ride on that one?
Yeah. Yeah, I ate somewhere else. They cooked everything, and I just show up, eat, and mess with the kids and stuff. So I got out of cooking the turkey.
Yeah.
Although I do in my freezer, I have probably about 4 or 5 turkey breasts and a full turkey. But I don't know. I got a big deep freeze, and people like to drop stuff off, and hey, I can't fit this at home, so I'm kind of like the community freezer, and I just eat all the ice cream.
So Rich White said his wife cooked it upside down, and it did keep the breast juicy. So there you go.
Nice.
I told you it would. But anyway, moving on. I'm trying to think, what else did I notice in the news today? There was that. Actually, without what I'm looking at is a bunch of bullshit. Nothing really. I mean, how some of this makes the news, I don't know. But one good thing is as I said before we went live, the Supreme Court, for the New York case, the New York, was it Rifle and Pistol and Rifle Association against New York City or New York State. Oral arguments start on Monday for that. So let's hope that one goes in our favor. And let's hope also Supreme Court. Hope if it goes in our favor, we want it to be a broad favor where it covers the whole United States, not just New York. You know what I mean? If we lose, we just want it to cover New York.
Always picking on New York.
Hey, there he is right there. Save the day.
What's going on?
Hey, blind shooter.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
When he shows up. Okay, Georgia Trucker just said he sent me an email for to listen to use in shooting with disabilities. Okay, I'll look at that, then I'll use it for Wednesday's show. Great.
I figured Blind Shooter would show up. You were just talking about cooking your turkeys upside down. So
yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah. Then of course the other besides the which I just talking about the court case. You boys going to court on Monday, opening arguments.
Judgment Day is upon us.
Yeah. So once they have oral arguments, then it takes months for them to out their verdict or whatever they call it.
As of right now, we are tentatively looking at having a final ruling late May, early June.
Oh, okay. That's still a long way off, ain't it? When you think about it. But I can understand because what they do is they go looking at all the they have their little secret vote, and whoever gets to write the pro for it or against it, then they use their clerks to go hunt the law up to come up with the correct answers, to justify why they're voting that way. I read that in the book somewhere. I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, see, I wonder now if Ginsburg happens to kick the bucket before they go for a vote, could Trump appoint a conservative judge in her place and that judge be allowed to vote or no?
No. Because the judge has to be what's called it. The Senate has to approve him.
Okay.
He can appoint one, but the Senate has to approve it. And what is going to be to go against if she dies or she resigns, right? He's got to appoint one before January 1st, right? Even though he's still got another full year as president. Remember, the Republicans stopped Obama from appointing one because they said it was 1 year to election, so the Senate wouldn't do it. The Republican Senate wouldn't recognize it, right? So they wouldn't do it. Now, of course, the Republican Senate has control. They could break their own rule and vote one in.
Well, what would it change? I mean, if she did, leave the court, on her own accord or carried off or whatever, that would still, he wouldn't even have to appoint anybody to take that position, would they? I mean, I don't know.
Well, that would they would.
I mean, if they were short a person, would they still take that vote, or would they say, "Nope, sorry, now we're short"?
No,
start all over.
No, because during that year when they didn't have anybody,
no, that's true.
They still done cases,
So where's Rich White? He's the one with all those funny law in it. Him or Angelina, they should get in here, because the only other thing I would be concerned with if they didn't have the same people that started, on December 2nd, that everybody listened to it, and then one leaves or whatever, they wouldn't. I don't know if that would affect anything, or they'd say, oh well, see, you don't know anything about it. You weren't here, so we got to start over and push it off even later or something.
Yeah.
See, the only downfall with the New York case that a lot of us are hesitant about is they changed the law here in New York to allow us to bring our guns outside state lines. So everyone's worried that the Supreme Court's just going to say, okay, fine, you guys changed the ruling. We're going to take your side and knock down the case. And then a month or so down the road, they're going to change their mind and say, nope, you can't do anything.
Yes, there is that possibility. That is a big worry. I mean, because Supreme Court did say, right? Because you said New York State or City is saying it's mute now, and the Supreme Court said they can bring that up in their oral arguments when the case starts. So you're right; it still could happen. You know?
Yeah, but do you think it would? Since they said we know you think it's moot, but we still want to hear it. It's kind of like they would. I don't know. I mean,
I think
I'm not much help on this.
I think
topic.
Well, they take a case. I think if 4 judges want to hear it, right? So I think you got 4 yeses already. That New York is wrong. So unless I'm not exactly sure how it works. But hopefully they won't say that. Hopefully they're smart enough to know that New York could just put that law back into effect soon as if they did that. They might word it different, but it would mean the same thing. So there we go. So we have Squid's joined us. Kingpin's back. Were they closed, Kingpin?
No, but when I mentioned it to the people at the front desk, they were like, they totally ignored what I was saying. And then and actually my appointment's not even for another minute, so I got in there early and got out pretty quick. When I sat down with the lady that was helping me get my license renewed, I said, your website says that you guys are closed. And she was like, shh, don't tell anybody. And she was cool as can be. I had a good time for the 5 or 6 minutes I was in there talking to her. She's a real nice lady.
Must be for appointments only on Saturday.
Maybe so. There was only like 4 other people in there that weren't working there.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it's for. Anyway, there's a good topic. Why it was in the back of my mind this morning, and I totally slipped it. Rich mentioned it. The the killing on London Bridge. The knife attack.
London Bridge in Arizona?
Arizona, yeah. I was just thinking that. Wait, didn't they sell that? Yeah, they sold it.
Was it the original London Bridge they sold, but they built another one?
Oh, yeah.
The original. But did you know, I mean, the person who bought London Bridge to build it in Arizona thought he was actually buying Tower Bridge.
Yes.
So anyway, there was a stabbing in England. He killed 3 people. From what I'm reading here in the chat, the guy was serving 16 years for plotting an attack in the London Stock Exchange, and they let him out after 6 years. So.
Yeah, he was already convicted, right?
Oh, here you go. It was Biden, right? I know you said this is called the Biden rule because it was Joe Biden who came up with the policy of a president not being able to appoint a Supreme Court justice during an election year. So there you go. The last one, when he appointed Kavanaugh, they tried to say it was an election year, but that was midterms. That don't count. It was the main presidential election is what they're talking about. So,
yeah. Plus, they set that Supreme Court justice that Obama, I can't remember his name right now, that he tried to put forward during that whole election year thing was a total setup. Like that, they had no intention of that guy actually getting seated. They knew what was going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course, what better way to make the Republicans look bad than to be like, look, they're obstructing justice. They're blocking a Supreme Court nomination because they don't like President Obama.
Yeah, well, they didn't. Which, I mean, it was true. They didn't. But yeah, I know what you mean. See, but what's going to happen now? What we were originally talking about was Ginsburg. If she happens to die, or finally say, I can't do it anymore in this next, she would have to do it before January 1st. Then he can appoint one. If it happens after January, you're into 2020, right? Can they do that, or can the Senate, because it's Republican held, say no? He can appoint one. I don't know, but how would that go? Say, for argument's sake, say this gun case. What happens if they're missing a judge and it's 4-4?
Then
That's why they have 9 people.
They get a 4-4 vote, and then that's it.
You know, so the law doesn't change. If it's a 4-4 vote, you know. So I don't know. I mean, it gets beyond me sometimes, some of this legal bullshit, you know. Oh, Sabrina said there was 3 wounded, stabbed in the Netherlands on Friday. That yesterday?
Yeah, same as the London thing.
Yeah. So I tell you, it's I don't know. Getting stabbed by a knife is more frightening to me than getting shot. I don't know why. It just is. I think getting shot, in my brain, getting shot is going to hurt more. But getting stabbed is going to do more damage. I don't know. That's how my brain thinks. But then again, I shouldn't go inside my head without adult supervision anyway. You know. So, Squib, you in the blind today?
No, sir.
Oh,
I was just walking the dog, and I was open carrying.
Anybody say anything?
Hi. That's about it.
Well, didn't even notice the gun on your hip?
I'm sure they did. I mean, I wasn't out there flaunting it, but
yeah.
So did you buy anything?
yeah, I was irresponsible.
What'd you buy?
Too much.
Did you buy those guns for Patriot?
Nah, he can buy his own damn guns.
Oh, come on. My birthday's coming
That
up,
would be
you
a
know?
straw purchase.
No, because they're not really a firearm. Because
I know they're
black
not
powder.
classified as firearms.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Just officially on record, they were black powder.
They
They were just a block of wood in a barrel. So.
Oh, okay. Question for you. Honestly, I'm seriously, being black powder, that you could buy it for somebody and not be classed as a straw purchase, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure.
And can you do that with antiques as well?
What, CNR?
No, that's not an antique. An antique
yes.
is like the
pre 1899 or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, you can.
So.
Okay, there you go.
There's some more hints for you there, Rick.
Oh, well, on topics?
If you wanted to buy a modern centerfire gun for somebody, you could just either get them a gift card for the gun store or chain that they're getting it from, or you could have it shipped to their FFL and they fill out a 4473 and they take ownership. You transfer the firearm. You're going to eat shipping costs and they're going to have to pay a transfer fee, but that still beats paying for the whole gun itself. So,
yeah, because if I buy a firearm and I give it to somebody who's not okay, Yeah, I mean, it's a straw purchase if you give it to somebody who's not entitled to a gun, right?
Like if they're a
Yes.
convicted felon?
If they're not allowed to own a gun, or if it's something where they're paying you to fill out the paperwork for them and then you're going to give it to them. It'd be different if you were buying a gun for your wife as an anniversary present. That's totally legal to do, right?
Okay.
But if your friend at work says, hey man, I can't pass a background check, I'm going to give you the money, I'm going to tell you what model, go in there and buy it for me and then give it to me later. That's a straw purchase.
Okay, I'm with you. The guy. So, like, if you gave me the $800 and said, "Go buy this gun," and I go in there and buy it, fill out the paperwork, then go meet you at your house. Okay.
Let's say your local FFL had a gun that I really wanted, and it was in great shape, and he had it dirt cheap. And I said, "Pick it up. I'll pay you back for it, and then ship it up here to Michigan to my FFL. Here's my FFL's address." And then I went and he transferred it to me at the FFL. We have not violated any laws. You just happen to be somewhere where it was available in good shape, and you trusted me to send you the money, and I sent you the money, and then you shipped it up. You never shipped it, to my front door or anything else like that. 24473s were filled out, and UPS made a little bit of extra cash that day. But overall, for somebody to go through that much trouble, it better be a rare gun or a damn good deal.
Otherwise, you could just contact that original gun store and say, "I want to buy that, ship it up to my thing." And
Yeah, some gun stores will, and some gun stores won't. Some gun stores are a little flaky about that, and some other ones are okay with it.
As long as you don't lie on the 4473. Like Squib was saying, if you fill out paperwork for a gun that's not going to be yours, that's no good. So that's ultimately what it is. But you can do, like he was saying, transfer and do all that kind of stuff, but there's always going to be paperwork to fill out. Anytime you skip the legal part of that paperwork, you've just committed a crime.
Yes, but it still doesn't prevent you from gifting a firearm to somebody who's lawfully able to own one. You buy it, you take possession of it. You're the one paying for this, you're taking possession of it. If you decide to give it to somebody else later, unless your state has some sort of registration, then you can transfer it to another owner to owner without any paperwork, depending on what your state's laws are at that point. So that's kind of a gray area there. If you're gifting it to somebody, but like I said, you got your buddy at work who's a felon, can't pass a 4473 and says, "You're going to gift it to me." No, that's a straw purchase. It's usually when you gift it to somebody, it's a relative or something like that.
That's if I was going to buy my son, I was going to buy my son a firearm for his birthday, I could do that because he's not a felon, so he's legally able to own a firearm. That would be legal.
So look at it like this, Rick. You could walk into the gun show. You could go to the very first dealer's table. You could find a rifle that you like or a handgun that you like, depending on what your state laws are. And you could fill out the 4473, pass the NICS check, pay for it, and sling it over your shoulder and walk the rest of the gun show. And on the way out, somebody stops you and says, "Hey, how much you want for that rifle?" And you just throw, maybe like $100 over what you paid for it onto the price. And the guy goes, "Here's the money." You could give him the rifle and you haven't broken any laws. Handguns might be a little bit different. That's a state to state thing. But that long gun, that is entirely legal to do. And you haven't broken any laws. You don't have to possess it for a certain amount of time if you are just a regular citizen. Now, if you are an FFL holder, you have to, your private personal guns, you have to own them for a year before you can sell them as a private citizen. If you have a gun and you own it less than a year, you have to sell it through your FFL. You can't sell like a regular person. So they're actually kind of prevented from selling their personal collections right away. Well, not really, because they would just run it through. They put it in their bound book, and they would go ahead and do a whole bunch of paperwork, but it's still legal.
The other one, like here in Michigan, I know if you have your concealed carry license, if you can loan, I believe I check your laws and make sure it's legal. but you can loan somebody that has it. Say that like, because I had a pistol that needed some work done. It needed a barrel replaced, and it was a pin barrel and everything. And the guy was going to do it for me, but at the time I didn't have my CPL, so he couldn't take it. If I had one, then he could take it back to his shop and do whatever. He was just a private guy or whatever. But from what I understand is if both parties have CPLs, somebody can borrow, quote unquote. But I don't know if there's a duration for that. Can they borrow it for a month? So.
See, I would say that in our state, that would be a handgun only thing, not a long gun thing.
Yes, that is just a handgun.
So if my buddy's selling a handgun and I want to buy it off of him and I pull out my CPL, all we have to do is fill out that form that you can print off the internet, and he keeps his copy and I keep my copy, and I drop one at the police station. But if I don't have a CPL, I have to go to the police station. They do a background check on me. They print the form with all their paperwork on there saying it's good to go. And then I have to take it to him, and then we fill it, we sign it, and then I still bring him a piece of paper back. So the CPL saves you some hassle. And there's some other states too that do the concealed carry permit is your background check. And it saves some hassle. And there are some dealers that will grumble, you don't have a CPL? No, I don't have a CPL. Do you want to sell me the gun or not, dude?
Yeah, because I did that with my mom, because she has her CPL, and for months she didn't have a firearm. My stepdad and all that, there was but nothing that she was comfortable carrying or whatever. And so I had I loaned her it to see if she liked it, but that was totally legal because we both have CPLs.
Now there you go. Yeah. All right. Oh, talking about that, but slightly different topic. When I renewed my my CNR FFL license, on the form you have to check on this check mark. Did you hand a copy of this form in to your local police authority that covers your area? Well, for me, it's the county sheriff, right? And I checked, I did. Of course, I took a copy of it, went down the sheriff's office, went to the counter, I handed it over, and they go, "What's this?" I said, "It's a copy of my CNR license." They go, "Why do I want it?" And so I said, "Here," I put it down here, and I put my finger on where it checked. I said, "Give copy to local police." I said, "And that's you." They were dumbfounded. They didn't even know what the hell it was. I was kind of shocked, really. But there you go.
Yeah, I sent mine to my sheriff too.
So that tells me that, just because they're a police force and is a policeman doesn't mean they know all the goddamn laws.
Oh, no, they don't. I got pulled over once, and I said, "Officer, I want to let you know that I have a valid CPL, but I'm currently not armed." And he said, "What?" I said, "Officer, I want to let you know that I have a valid CPL, but I am currently not armed." He goes, "What's a CPL?" And I'm thinking, really, dude? Really?
Yeah. I got pulled over in a 62 Chevy 2 Nova, and it didn't have seatbelts, and they were trying to give me a ticket. And I told them they couldn't because it didn't come with seatbelts.
Yeah, because isn't that grandfathered in or whatever? If that's the way
it was after like 64, I think. Yeah, they came in 64.
Yeah.
It used to surprise me on how little most cops know the law, but now I'm pretty used to it. Cops don't know much about the law at all, really.
Back in the day, you used to have to take your gun after you got the paperwork to register it. You had to take your gun into the local law enforcement office for them to handle the paperwork, and they'd also do a safety inspection on. So I would never bring a firearm in with a magazine. I'd bring it in the case, open it up, and they'd be like, "Where's the magazine?" You think I'm crazy? I'm not bringing it in here with any ability for this thing to be loaded. Well, one day I brought in a Cimarron Lightning, which is a replica of a Colt Lightning double action, like an old West revolver, right? And it's got a loading gate on there. And this cop is fumbling with this thing and he's squeezing it and he's trying to turn the cylinder and he's pulling the hammer back and he's messing with it. He's just doing everything he can he can't figure out how to check to verify this thing isn't loaded. And I just flip the loading gate and I go, there you go. And I'm going, damn, dude.
Oh yeah, it's amazing, really, what little they do know. So, hey, we think they should know, the gun laws because we deal with it a lot.
Yeah, I've got 2 state officers that live basically right next door to me, and they whatever they end up dealing with every day. I mean, I'm sure in some places they know more about drugs and how people smuggle stuff,
and they know how
than
to
other locations. But like the one on the farthest from me, he didn't even know his address because he mailed a Streamlight flashlight to my house, and when it arrived, he came down to pick it up so his wife wouldn't know. But I think that's a little different.
But, I think they know stuff. I mean, like they, know most of the traffic laws. They more likely know what the laws are, and when it comes to domestic, abuse cases and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's whatever they work with. I mean, it's just like anybody. Yeah. You can go to a gun shop and, you bring in an old revolver. They might not know what it is because they're, all ARs and tactical stuff. I mean, that goes for anybody. You go to your butcher and you ask them for one of those weird Rick's Life as I See It cuts, and they might not know what you're talking about.
True.
Speaking of that.
What do you want to know? It's not time yet for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. New York out there said they clearly don't know the laws near me or in Pennsylvania.
Well, going back to the London thing, one of the things that we could say is a positive out of that is look at the people that fought back. There was people that grabbed whatever they could and did whatever they could to stop this guy, and so ultimately, a gun showed up and finally stopped it. But at least they didn't run and hide and curl up in a ball like they've been doing. So maybe they're getting fed up with getting stabbed and chemical attacked, and they'll demand their guns back.
Oh yeah. And of course, did you? I'm trying to think. Did I hear it on the radio or did I read it? The Chicago police chief, and he's doing a like your mayor. The gun crime in our city is not my fault because what the criminals do, they go to Illinois, they go to Wisconsin and Indiana and pick up duffel bags of guns and bring them back.
Duffel bags are like in Falling Down?
That's ultimately how it works. I mean, look at California. California yelled for years, we need to do this, and then they finally got the votes to do that. And then once they see that didn't work, they start blaming it. Well, we need to do more of this. And then once they run out of, hey, we got to do more of this, they start saying, well, it's not our fault, it's Oregon's fault. It's not our fault, it's Nevada's fault. Same thing with Chicago. You slap on every gun crime and every drug crime in the world, and then what else can you do when none of it works except blame Indiana?
Well, that's the whole idea of it. They know those little teeny laws that they're pushing aren't going to affect anything, but that's not their end game. It's not what they're pushing for. So when they say you gotta do a transfer if you hand your wife, tell your wife to hold this while you're doing something in your toolbox or something, they're just adding things on because it's a total package. It's not a end all, because that's the bad thing
in Hong Kong.
Well, that's the bad thing about the people on our side where they go, oh, see, it didn't work. Well, they know it wasn't going to work, and that wasn't what they're focused on because they're already 3-4 steps pushing something else.
Oh yeah.
So you can't just say, well, see, we showed you that waiting periods don't work. Well, they don't. They're not listening to anybody saying anything about it because they're already moved on, and they're going for the next 2 or 3 things.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
So,
if federally they pass, universal background checks. Give that a year or two, and they're going to say, well, it's not really working because we're going to need to register these guns before we know where they're at. And eventually, the ultimate goal is to take everybody's gun, or there's no guns in the United States of America.
I mean, might not even be the end of it. That's not what they're focused on. They don't. I bet you that the end game, of the people that sit around and do all these think tanks. They're not even thinking about guns as only that. They're pushing for your First Amendment rights and just everything else. It's the whole. We're in charge. You guys don't know anything.
If they took down the Second Amendment, that's evidence for them that they could definitely take down anything else they want.
Yep. Yeah, they might use it as a marker, a placeholder, but I don't one little bit think that that's all that they're going after. And they could give a hoot. I'm trying to keep this clean. It's Saturday, right? Saturday cartoons. They don't care about those little teeny laws that they push, those things that are thorns in our sides, that because it's a flash in the pan for them, because they throw something and it sparks, and all of us, everybody out here looks at that little thing and they, oh, look at, they're trying to push that, so let's block that, instead of focusing on that whole total picture.
And
Man, I'm crazy. So
I've had two experiences in these border states where I saw an FFL follow the law. This whole thing about they're getting them from the states on the border is BS. First off, the crimes are mostly committed with handguns. And we know that since 1934, there have been laws about taking handguns across state lines as far as purchasing them out of state. Unless you're an FFL or something, you can't do it. You can't go to the neighboring state and buy a handgun from an FFL. You're not supposed to buy one from a private owner either. Long guns are a whole different story. So these crimes in Chicago and up and down California are not being committed with long guns. I was in Columbus, Indiana once, and they had a 44 Magnum Super Red Hawk in a case with a scope for $400. And I jumped all over that. And he said, sorry, you live in Michigan, can't sell it to you. The guy didn't even want to ship it up to Michigan to an FFL near me. He's like, unless you have an FFL, you're not walking out of the store with this thing. So that was my experience trying to buy a handgun in Indiana. And then in Nevada, I was in North Las Vegas at New Frontier Armory, and I was talking to him about buying an AR-15. And he said, well, the first question I have to ask you is, do you live in California? Because if you do, I can't sell you an AR-15. You're not taking it across the border, not from our store. So this whole thing about, they're getting their guns from these other states, it's a load of crap. It really is.
And your free speech is a lot easier for them to quash than people think. I mean, they do it all day, every day, and people don't even notice it. So they don't even need to take guns away to silence you. So that's a myth as well. So I mean, I get it. I totally understand, and I totally believe that the Second Amendment defends all the rest. But don't think that just because you've got a gun, they can't silence you.
All right. What's called it? Unknown user says, if it's the neighboring state's fault, then why doesn't the neighboring states have the same high crime rates? Exactly. So
very good point. Very good point.
Other big
talking about the ultimate game, like Biden just recently said, he wants to ban all 9mm because it's a weapon of war. That's the ultimate game, is to unarm America.
Well, yeah, I think it's even more than that. It's way past that. They push the socialist stuff and the different things like that, and their whole idea isn't focused just on firearms. Firearms is one little column.
It's a little piece of the big picture.
But like Kingpin said, they could squash anything. They do right now. You look at news. The news that they push at you is not all the stuff. There's things going on in the world that we don't know about. There's stuff that's happening in the next town over that you probably don't know about, just because it's not whatever profitable. I mean, there's all sorts of reasons for it, but so they can squash anything. But that whole idea that just the little people that don't know anything, there's a bigger game, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it definitely doesn't hinge on just the Second Amendment, because just like I said, if they throw something out there, one little law that freaks everybody out, Washington, they're having this issue, or some other states having this thing, they know that hey, look, it's just like that shiny little piece of tinfoil they dangle in front of you. Oh, squirrel! Everybody looks at it. It's not what they're doing. You're supposed to be looking at their other hand, or what they're doing at the same time. And I'm sure that they're a lot better people than me could point out stuff. I don't know, but I mean, anytime you look at anybody that's doing something kind of shady, and it's kind of shady, you're supposed to be watching the peripherals, because obviously you're going to focus on the thing that they want you to focus on.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, Rich White says, I live on the border with Maryland. When I go to the gun shop, I constantly hear, I can't sell that to you because you live in Maryland. No. Well,
any legitimate FFL does not want to risk facing federal charges. It isn't worth it. It isn't worth it they're in business to make money. And if they do it right, they can make a ton of money and stay in business a long time. So why would they throw it all away just to make one sale? I've gone to shops where these guys have been kind of jerks. It's not that it was illegal to sell it or anything else like that. It's just they weren't willing to negotiate a price or whatever. And they're like, look, man, 8 more people are going to come in today to buy this thing. So do you think I care if I sell it to you? So, I mean, they're in business to make money. They're not going to throw it all away just to make one lousy sell.
The other thing is those people, they have, how many times do, local laws and restrictions and all this stuff change? You think somebody that's in, Ohio is really paying attention to, all the laws that change in, Indiana or, Indianapolis? I wouldn't risk it, because know from one day to the next when something's going to change, and you can't even have that anymore. And then that comes back on them. That's a lot of extra.
Yeah. All right.
So you just got to get a 3D printer, and you'll be fine, because you can just do it all yourself.
That's right. I can make myself a ghost gun.
Speaking of Black Friday.
Yes.
No, I found one, and I kind of chuckled. I wanted to get a 3D printer, but none of the programs are accessible to me, but it would be kind of funny. I have a couple of family members that would freak out if they found out I had a 3D printer and I'm a gun guy.
Oh, Rich White just said, I just realized I can't say anything to piss off Squib or Kingpin. They both know exactly where I live. So, there you go.
So, do you have the answer for your quiz? I'm sure it's like halfway, right?
Oh, from last week's quiz?
Sure.
All right, I can give you. Yeah, last week's quiz. I had up for grabs about, I think it's three or four. I had this don't give a fuck waist wristband. 1, 2, 3. I think it's three patches. This don't tread on me. What would you call it? A badge that you pin onto your thing
button.
there?
A button?
Yeah, button. There's a button.
It's a nice looking button.
A bunch of stickers in there. That was the prize. So, the question I asked was in the 1980 movie, The Long Good Friday. and it was Pierce Brosnan in his first feature film role. I wanted to know what was the weapon he carried in that movie. And, hang on, I lost my chat. Where's my chat? Oh, yeah. The answer was a suppressed Walter P-38 was the answer. You know? And so I had, let's see, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 entries.
Nice.
Oh.
Okay, let's see. The winner's going to be either unknown user, Rich White, or Patriot in the Dark.
Oh, wasn't me.
No, unknown user didn't enter.
I'm pulling for Midnight Range on this one. Midnight's going to be the big winner today.
No, he didn't enter. So I'm hitting the draw now.
Well, I'm more interested to see who wins this than knowing the answer. But
John Brown
P-38.
John Brown Productions. He's the winner. Again.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So
see, I was thinking it was the Apache.
Again. Yeah. Rich White knew the answer because he typed it in at the beginning of the chat. Of course, so Raphael said, I've been on vacation. That's why he didn't enter. So there we go.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, I don't know if he's in the chat today, but John Brown's won it. He's more than likely watching football or something. So, all right. This week's question. The prize is a great one. The main prize from Alan Anchor is this cleaning mat, and it's got the Gaston flag on it. But instead of saying "Don't tread on me," the reason I'm swearing in this is because with YouTube, I checked it. It's not suitable for children, just to be on the safe side. It says "fuck around and find out."
She's selling those now?
Yeah, she must be. She sent this to me. So that's the main prize. Plus, I'll give you a couple of stickers to go along with it. You don't get any patches because that's worth more than the patches. But I'll give you a few stickers. I got some in his envelope here. So, okay, the question's quite easy, really. Oh, unknown user said, I always know the answers, but I'm beginning to fear for my safety if I win anymore. Okay, the question. I'm more like pronounce it. I always pronounce it wrong. People will correct me. The new show on Disney Plus, was it The Mandalorian Is it Mandalorian? Is that how you pronounce it?
I think it's
Mandalorian.
Pronounced Chicago.
Well, anyway, that show, however you pronounce it, it's spelled DeLorean.
It's the aluminium.
Okay, but anyway, that guy. What I want to know, I want to know what his modified main weapon is, and where it first showed up in the Star Wars. What's the word?
Universe.
Yes, the Star Wars universe. Who was where it first showed up? Basically, I don't need to know the movie or whatever, but I'm after the person where it first showed up in the Star Wars universe. Also, what I would like to know is what that weapon actually does. Well, the kind of things it does. So that's my question. Email me the answer at Rickslifeasiseeit by gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. So I want to know what the modified weapon he's using is, basically the name of it, who first, or where it first, actually it's a person, who first, where it showed up in the Star Wars universe, and what does his weapon do? So, there you go. It's sort of like a 3-point question, really, I guess. So you answer all them. Email me by 12 noon Eastern time next Saturday. So, and that cleaning mat could be yours. Oh, there you go. I got to figure how I'm going to mail it, though. But, I'm trying to think how she sent it to me. Oh, yeah, she sent it to me in a rolled up thing. I have to get one. See, when people do a lot of, she's in business. So she has all this stuff for mailing stuff out. I don't, but I'll figure it out. Okay. And while we're at it, might as well do my cut of the week while I'm here. Yeah, I'm not actually doing the cut of the week. I'm doing a ground beef. There's most places make a 75%, an 80%, either an 85 or 90% lean ground beef. Now, personally myself, it depends the store that's making it. Like in the last store I made, where we made 75% ground beef, when we made it and done fat testing on it, our 75 was 80% or better. So that's what I used to buy. Why pay for an expensive one when the cheap one is coming out the same? But if I was going to buy a ground beef, I would buy the 80% for simple reason, right? Is it's not going to be real fatty like the 75%. And if you buy the real lean stuff, it's going to be too dry when you cook it. So you buy the 80%. You can always drain off the fat, but the 80%, when you look at it from a good point of view, it's healthier than the 75, but your burger or whatever you're making is still going to be juicier. If you're making burgers, it's great. If you're making something else, when you cook it, just drain the grease out of it. Doesn't take much. That's, so, like where I worked before, when we made it, my 75 was like 80. My 80 was like 85. And my 90 was, it was actually coming out 95 to 96% lean,
Where does the ground beef come from? Like, what cuts do you get that from? And you just get it from all the leftover stuff?
No, it's not leftover. It's stuff. If you're trimming something up, or if you got a piece of meat and that's sitting on your cutting table there, and it's looks a bit ugly, you like you square off the edges, make it look straight. All the trimmings, basically, that you cut off of things. Or if you're still boning out meat, you try to get the bone as clean as possible. But when you finish, you go over it and scrape off the pieces that you missed. That's the kind of trimmings used. But most of that will go into 75% because it's not lean enough to go anything higher. Now, what we used to use to grind with ours, we used to buy shoulder meat or neck meat, beef neck meat, and we would chop that up and throw it in there, the lean stuff up. And if we were going to make, and normally what we used to, when we used to make 90%, we would buy bags of, like, I'm trying to think the word of it. What in the hell was the name of the stuff? It was, it came off the sirloin. It was almost like a tri-tip, but it wasn't a tri-tip. It was more the flap of the sirloin. It was practically almost 98% lean if you ground it. And that's what we used to use for our real lean stuff. So, okay, so anyway, where was I? So that's what we would use, is mainly neck meat, because it's nice and lean. And it's got more flavor. Meat off the forequarter it has more flavor than meat off the hindquarter. Because if you look at a cattle, the front of him is more sturdy and stronger, and that's where his power is. And the back of him is leaner, and that meat's more tender. That's why. I mean, if you're going to have what the hell's the name of it? That raw. My mind's gone blank. When you're eating raw ground beef.
Who the hell would eat raw ground beef?
Steak tartare. It's raw ground beef. What you use, what a lot of people use for that is actually filet mignon. Run it through the grinder, and it's real tender, and you mix it with salt and pepper and some other stuff. You actually eat it raw.
That's disgusting, Rick.
Kivy is also raw. Or you can have it cooked if you're a wimp. But yeah. That has pine nuts in it.
Yeah. Oh, unknown user said, I just won a $250 set of cam shooting glasses with built-in camera, and I highly recommend. They even have a Wi-Fi phone app to control the camera and live stream on YouTube, etc. Wow,
sounds like a review videos on the way.
Hey, that would be great for shooting videos, wouldn't it? Yeah. You know, if you want to see me shoot gangster style, you're going to have to send that to me, unknown user, where I can piss off other people who, you know, they got upset with my little video I put out, you know. So, all right. But anyway, you wouldn't, yeah, but that is a dish, actually, Squib, steak tartare. It's raw ground beef is what it is. I mean, it's, now you go up. Now, see, I go, yeah. If somebody says to me, why don't you eat sushi? You know, that's raw fish.
You know, I tried sushi, and I didn't think it tasted like eating tuna out of the can. I wasn't impressed with it.
No, but I'm the same. I'm with you, New York Outcast. He said, I'd rather eat raw beef than before I eat raw fish. Absolutely. You know? I mean, you think about it. You cook a steak medium, you know, rare to medium rare. Well, I mean, what's the difference by eating a little raw? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I cooked the ranch steak to your directions, and that's the way it came out. So I got to redo it. I got to cook it about double the time because my wife and my son won't eat rare meat at all. They want it well done. So no. I was when I cut them open, I'm like, oh, okay, I can see where Rick, because I'm okay with raw, well, not raw, but with rare meat because you get the flavor and the juices that come out. Yeah. But it's still cooked at a temperature, I think, long enough that it's going to kill anything else. I mean, if you're going to eat raw ground beef, I think you're just asking for a case of Ebola or something.
Oh yeah, you're right. But I mean, see, that's another thing too about when I suggest cooking stuff, it wasn't done enough for you, so you could throw it on there. If I told you put it on there real high, leave it for so long, and it's overdone, you can't take the wellness out. But if it's done,
that's true. I didn't think of it like that.
What?
I see your point.
You know, no, that's the way I look at it. Midnight Range said, we used to do tartare with filet, caramelized onions, roast red peppers, a deviled eggs, and a quail yolk. So there you go. You know? Unknown user says, I'm eating everything well done. I'm not catching any parasites or mad cow disease.
Yeah, that's the part that they left out, Squib. Not only is it raw ground beef, but you get a raw egg on top of it too.
Yeah, no, see, that's the thing about you see the people drink the raw eggs because they're working out, they're bodybuilders and stuff like that. I don't understand what's the difference between raw and cooked. You still get the same nutrition, right?
No, when you start cooking food, you start cooking some of the nutrients out of it. But I'm not eating raw eggs. I'll eat extra eggs if I'm running out of that much nutrition.
Yeah. Okay. Unknown user said, you know, he doesn't eat anything under well done. Well, I might as well send you my shoe leather then, you know. But then he goes down here. One of the reasons our average lifespan has went up from 30 to 76 years old is because we stopped eating raw food.
You can't argue with that logic either.
No, you can't. You can't. So, Oh. All right. Where'd the Patriot go? He dropped out on us. So, hopefully he comes back. New York Outcast, I prefer medium well myself. I can live with medium. If you served me up a medium steak, I would eat it. But you served me up a well done one, would I eat it? Well, if you were a real close friend and a bunch of guys, I would give you hell over it. But if I was in a family setting and you threw it on my plate, I wouldn't cause a fuss and I would do my best to chew through it. But, hell no. To me, it's just a waste of time. Having a piece of meat, you might as well eat your shoes. Oh, Travis said he missed those tapeworms if he doesn't overcook it, Oh, Rich White said Patriot went looking for leftover green bean casserole. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, God.
Yum. Yeah. I had me some extra helpings of that on Thursday.
Oh, God. I'm glad you had extra helpings because you had mine. That stuff is disgusting. This Thanksgiving, I had a nice, quiet one all by myself. I loved it. I made myself roast potatoes. Now, when I do roast potatoes, I put them in the pan, and I put maybe, about a quarter inch of oil, cook oil in the bottom. You can use whatever you want, vegetable oil, peanut oil, canola oil. Use whatever you want, right? In the bottom, peel the potatoes. If they're big ones, I normally cut them in half. And what I do is I roll them in the oil, then stick them in the oven at 400 degrees for 30 minutes, pull them out, flip them over, put them back in for another 30 minutes. And when they come out, they got a crispy coating on the outside and fluffy on the inside. But while those are cooking, I had me a rump roast. And I cooked that. It only weighed about 3 pounds. So I done 20 minutes a pound and an extra 20 minutes. That came out medium rare. And then I boiled myself some Brussels sprouts. I had that all on the plate there. Had my English mustard. I must admit, I didn't have any English brown sauce, so I used steak sauce to pour over it. Oh, man. I normally pour the steak sauce or the brown sauce on my potatoes. I normally don't put it on my meat. But I poured that over there. Oh, man, I sat there in front of the television, and I watched. What did I watch?
Please don't say a soccer game.
No. I've been starting to watch those lately during the afternoons.
Why are boring?
Do you make your natural gravy from the drippings from your meat and stuff like that, stir it in with the vegetables and all that?
No, I don't. I'm not the only time I like gravy. I'm not a great gravy person, really. I'm not over keen on it. I'll eat gravy on mashed potatoes occasionally. I'll have gravy if I'm having gravy and biscuits, that type of thing. So, I'm reading the Georgia Trucker says steak sauce was created by well-done steak eaters. Yeah, they had something to take away the flavor of eating shoe leather.
A1 and barbecue sauce will save the day every time. With a little bit of hot sauce on top, you're good.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Patrick said, last 2 steaks I cooked, I didn't let it get to room temperature. I had to cook it more than normal. Yeah, because what you're doing, even an outside grill, even using your broiler oven, whatever you're throwing, if you throw something cold into it, it drops the temperature down, and that item, the grate of the grill, the pan you put it in, has to get the temperature back up to where it was before it can start cooking. You know, if you keep it to room temperature, and when you throw it in there, boom, it's going to start cooking right away. Yeah. Oh, unknown user just said, going back to guns, he said, by the way, over 20 Virginia counties have voted to be 2A sanctuaries in response to the Democrat wins in the last election after their promise to ban confiscate guns. See, which is fine. I understand this. They're doing all this. Where were those voters to vote? They could have stopped this becoming a democratic state. But, you know, what's it going to do? So your local county sheriff says, I'm not going to implement red flag laws. I don't care. You know, I'm not saying I don't care. He said, if I have a traffic stop, the guy has a couple of 30-round magazines in the trunk with his rifle and stuff, I'm not going to book him because 30-round magazines are banned. That's fine. But what happens if you're pulled over by a state trooper in that county? You're busted, buddy.
Well, another thing that helps with, because I'm right with you with the whole, you know, I don't really feel all that bad for Virginia right now. They did it to themselves, but it also, with the sheriff's department, it helps when they got a warrant to serve. If they got a warrant to serve for possession of a 30-round magazine, he's not coming. You know, and all the warrants are served by the sheriff's departments.
True. I understand that. But really, if the state wanted to do something, they can use sort of like state militia or whatever, which over trumps that, right?
You're going to send the National Guard out to arrest somebody for having a 30-round mag?
Well, you're going to have jurisdictional issues. If say you get in a car accident and the local police, the sheriff, and the state police all show up, and while they're doing their investigation, they see a 30-round magazine in the back of your car, jurisdiction will probably keep two of the officers from doing something. You know, it depends on if it's on the highway or a county road or whatever like that. So you're also going to have jurisdictional issues that most people aren't going to step on each other's toes over. The only time that the state police are going to get involved is when it's pretty serious. Or like you said, you get pulled over by a state trooper and the state trooper sees that you've got something quote unquote illegal, then the state trooper is going to nail you.
Yeah. You know.
Wasn't Virginia also trying to...
said the voters did come out, but the population of like 3 counties had the majority of votes. And the state itself doesn't have an electoral college.
They did not. I'm tired of hearing that. People keep telling me
I'm not buying that either.
This last election cycle, Virginia had like the lowest turnout of all elections that were going on.
That's what I heard too, but I don't know. You know,
we had the same thing in Michigan the last time there was an election. We had such a low turnout of people who voted before, and then we had all these new voters that just wanted to vote in the drug law, and it changed everything. And these people kind of had the whole, everything's fine here, or, well, it's not the presidential election, or it's like, no. I don't want to make it where you have to vote. I don't ever want that to be. I think it should always be your choice. But understand this. If you complain and you didn't try to do something about it, your complaint is really flimsy. There's just no substance to it. If you try and you fail, at least you tried. But everybody else who wants to go out there and they want to complain, it's like, well, where were you on election day? Oh, well, you know, I was. Yeah.
Wasn't that what Tony Simon said about New Jersey in the midterms or whatever? There was like 2% or something that showed up. Some crazy number.
But even Bloomberg, when he was interviewed, he said, I turned Virginia into a blue state with the amount of money he pumped into it. You know, he's trying to buy the presidency now. You know. I don't think he'll get it. But you never know.
That goes back to the same thing I've been saying forever. We're playing their game by our rules. And they know that we're going to vote basically based on our moral standards and what we think is right or wrong. So that means if a Democrat candidate is got good policy and all this other kind of stuff, and the Republican's a bum, then we're going to vote for the Democrat. And they know that. They know that we're a bunch of suckers and that we're going to try to do the right thing. That's why they cheat so much. You know, where's our protest? Where's our boycott? You know, somebody does, Bernie Sanders supporter goes out and shoots Steve Scalise, and everybody rushed out as fast as they could to say, I don't blame Bernie Sanders. I don't blame Bernie Sanders. One person sneezes on somebody at a Donald Trump rally, and the entire world says it's Donald Trump's fault. They know we're suckers. And if we continue to play their game by our rules, we're going to continue to look stupid.
I agree.
I don't even think it's so much that people that typically vote one way decide this election I'm going to vote differently. It's the whole fact that they go, why bother? They say, I'm so disappointed. Why bother? I don't like either one. Why bother?
You know how
I
many
don't think my
times
vote matters. Why bother? I think all this why bother is part of the problem.
I heard that so many times in 2016 when I was like, hey, you're going to go vote? You're going to go vote? People, no, my vote doesn't count. Donald Trump's not going to win Maryland, so who cares?
Yeah.
Well, apparently, there you go.
Yeah.
And then what happens is when the electorate looks at these numbers and they see, well, Maryland voted 99% Democrat. Guess who's not going to poll and campaign in Maryland? Republicans.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're right. You're right.
Well, it's just like you hear about how many millions of proud gun owners there are in California, but they're also afraid to come out and vote because they don't want to be, or go to these rallies or do this and that because they're so afraid, because it's so oppressive there and blah, blah, blah. If there's really that many, I understand the cities are big and they've got power and stuff, but if there's really that many people that want to preserve their rights and there's a candidate who's saying, look, I'm not going to take away any more, where are they on election day? On the other hand, some, I don't know if they've had anybody in a state like California or some of these other states that have come out and said, I'm going to give you your rights back, or I'm not going to take any. I don't, and it just, I don't know. I know what it's like where I live. I can only go off of what everybody who lives in these other states tell me. But when they talk about, oh man, there's millions of us, it's just, well, where are you on election day then? What is going on? I understand the whole electoral college if you actually have that in your state, but it's just still, it's frustrating.
It is. It is. But I mean, I heard that a lot when I was living in Rhode Island. Why vote? Why bother? My vote doesn't count.
Well, I got a question about that. Like in California, do they have anybody that, even if you do have those feelings that, gun rights are a human right and a civil right and all that stuff, do they have people that actually will come out and actually say that? Or are they so discouraged because there's, they have the tide against them or whatever, nobody mentions it, and so nobody's going to vote for them?
That's something I don't know. But I just hear that there's millions of people. They just won't come out of hiding or whatever it is. And it's like, if there's really that many, even if it doesn't turn the tide, if it's on record that this many people showed up to vote and it was close, if it had any effect, somebody, it's going to get some sort of recognition.
Yeah, they would see it. Unless they were just voting on, proposals or something, then that would, obviously show up too.
If there's all these... Sorry, Patriot, my bad.
No, go ahead.
If there's all these people and they're afraid to come out and they're afraid to take a picture of their gun and they're afraid to speak about being a gun owner, guess what? They already lost. You've lost. You've lost. If you've got one person or 1 million people that are proud gun owners and they're all sitting in their houses and their basements afraid to come outside, the other side already won.
And are they really gun owners or, Second Amendment people?
I'm disappointed at the people in my state, as pro 2A as we are, about their turnout at the last election. Now, so far, nothing has happened, but the potential is there because they didn't show up to vote. Hopefully, because the next election is presidential, they'll show up in numbers, and it might keep us
And
at least where we're at.
And I'll throw in, I know what state you live in. And I'll throw in, I don't believe there's that many pro Second Amendment people here. I know a lot of hunters, and that's it. That's what they are. That's what they'll say. They don't pay attention to anything outside of what broadheads they're going to get and what. So, I mean, I know there are some, and I'm not trying to step on anybody, but when you look at Michigan being, what is Michigan? It's hunting, it's recreational, being out in the woods, whatever, on the lakes, fishing and stuff. That doesn't automatically transcribe to pro Second Amendment. And I don't want people to get that thing. Well, yeah, there's how many hunting licenses were sold this year. That still doesn't transfer over to people that are actually going to do something.
But see, they'll do something. They'll do something when the next mass shooting is done by somebody who brought a 12 gauge pump action to the scene.
Yeah. Which those don't get the headlines because those do happen.
Yeah. It's just it kind of gets that kind of information has to get out there too, because I mean, believe it. I mean, there's probably other states that have some kind of recreational hunting and stuff. I've never been, I mean, I went to Georgia and I seen the deer they say are deer, and I laughed because I mean they're puppies, compared to what I was used to as a kid and stuff. And I know there's I mean you can't throw a rock and not hit somebody that is a hunter or knows a hunter or works with 10 of them, because I mean, all you have to do is hunting season, go to any place. There's half people working, and everybody else is gone, but that needs to be pushed, that the Second Amendment part of it, because those hunter guys, I mean, I have a large family and they're all hunters, and, half of them are surprised you can buy a pistol, they don't, it doesn't even enter in anything that they care about, because hunting is. But now
there's other examples here. When I was at Sporting Goods store today, there was a gentleman talking to the guy at the counter about joining the Michigan Coalition for Responsible Gun Owners, and he was explaining everything about the organization to this guy. I was in line on Black Friday at Dunham's, and there was a kid behind me buying a box of that Federal Black in 9mm. He's not going hunting with 9mm.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are some. We still have what we have, and yeah, I understand there are a lot of FUDs in this state. There really are.
But I
think that there's potential. I just think if they don't show up to the polls, what's the point?
Yeah. And the Michigan Coalition of Responsible Gun Owners, if you look on their site and you sign up for their emails, they do the Monday report. And they do the CPL report for the month, every month. And the numbers are steadily shooting up in the sky. I mean, so I don't know. I don't know if some of the instructors, it would be really cool if they, I don't know how many they do or not, if they express that, just because you're doing this doesn't mean, just put it in your wallet and forget about it and, actually do stuff. I don't know if they do. A lot of them do, I guess. But.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's see what happens in 2020. I'm hoping. I'm hoping Trump wins again. Not because I'm a Trump lover, but I don't think he's done a bad job myself. But okay, you can say, well, what about bum stocks? Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the blame is his, but he actually didn't pass a law. He said, "Look at this," and the ATF redone their definition. But ultimately, I mean, he's the man in charge. So,
all I would say about that statement is the part about, well, let's wait and see, because I don't agree with that kind of statement. Because that's just letting it go the way it is. So don't just wait and see. Get out there and do something.
Who said wait and see?
Didn't you say that? Well, I'll just wait.
I didn't think I did.
Oh.
If I did,
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm crazy. So
yeah,
I got turkey overload. I got all those chemicals in my brain.
Because right now we cannot do, we could not, we don't. I mean, if Democrats win the White House, right? Long as the Republicans hold on to the Senate or even the House, you almost got them. You almost got them stymied. So, but I'm getting ahead of myself there. I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, I heard some people. I think is unfortunately, I know the way the political system is set up here in the United States. Anybody can if you can afford it, you can run. But if you got, a Republican on the ticket, a Democrat on the ticket, and say, for argument's sake, a Libertarian or the Green Party or something else, and say you're in a state that it normally always votes Democrat, and you're a Republican or a gun owner or 2A man, and you say, "Well, I ain't voting for Trump. The Republicans never, win this state, so I'm gonna vote for the third party that's on the ticket." You just wasted your goddamn vote. Where I'm going with this is like when I was in Rhode Island. Yes, I mean that state's been Democrat for God knows how long. And but in the general election, the actual Republican vote, if you look at the percentages, I think Democrats, won, what was it? I can't remember, 70-something% of the vote or whatever, but and the Republicans had 30%, which was higher. It was higher that year than it's ever been. So if you get out there and vote, even if your state doesn't win, because eventually it might. You might turn the tide. You never know. And that one vote may make the difference between winning and losing.
If you're sitting back and you're still thinking about who you're going to vote for in the 2020 presidential election, you've got a problem. You've got a serious problem. And anybody who has a problem with what I'm saying, feel free to contact me and we'll hash it out. You have one choice, period. Donald Trump. I don't care about the stupid bump stock. I don't care about any of that other crap. And when you watch what's been happening over the past 3 years, if you vote for somebody besides Donald Trump, you have a problem.
Absolutely. I'm behind you.
And that's not about, 5D chess and 4chan and memes and all that kind of stuff. I don't care if you like Donald Trump or not. If you care about what's happening to this country, because this isn't about Donald Trump. This is about Squibload, Blind Shooter, Patriot, Unknown User, Rick. They're attacking you guys and me. They don't care about Donald Trump. Donald Trump will be gone in 4 more years, and they'll never have to deal with him again. You and I are going to be here for a very long time. This is about us. Every negative thing they say about Donald Trump, every attack that they come on a conservative, whether it be Brett Kavanaugh, Jim Jordan, or whoever, that is attack on you. So get your head out of the sand and start paying attention. Stop playing their game by our rules.
Yeah.
And if you want to test out the whole libertarian thing, which a lot of people look at the third party, do it local, do it in your little township or your little city or whatever you live in, in your area. That is a place to mess around with that stuff, not the big stuff that's.
I mean, really, if you go back in history to when Clinton won because everybody voted for Perot, because he was the third man on the ticket.
Yep.
Ross Perot was the only viable third-party candidate that's pretty much ever existed.
Yeah.
Name one. Jill Stein, get out of here. That other guy, I can't remember. I can't remember the other dude that ran last time. His name
Yeah.
right now, Gary Johnson. If you voted for Gary Johnson, you need to seek therapy.
Yeah. I mean, a good example, I mean, like right now, where Bloomberg's throwing his ring in the hat. You know, with all this money, he's running as a Democrat. Why don't he run as an
You got that
independent?
too, Patriot.
I love it.
You know? Anyway.
That's why I enjoy Saturdays with Rick.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So,
and you guys too. I mean, yeah.
Well, I'm about ready to wind this down because the cats are getting hungry. You know, I am getting hungry.
Real quick, I don't mean to disparage anybody who's voted for a third-party candidate or looks for that's great. Express your opinions, express your vote the way you would like to. But if you're informed and you're voting for any third-party candidate, you're not well informed.
Okay. There you go. His email is
shooting left
at Gmail.
Now, for a biggest hornet's nest that I stirred up, that's definitely shooting left to center at Gmail.
Yes, that's right, shooting left to center.
But that's not stirring up anything, and that is serious. I mean, if you want to play around with the third party thing, that is the local thing, because that's the only place that would even remotely have a chance of doing anything.
And that would be how you build. That would be how you build it up. You start local. It's going to gain momentum. But if you just shoot for the top, you just threw it in the trash.
If you got 3 counties that decide that they want a sheriff that's, a libertarian instead of, the cookie cutter guy or whatever, people will look at that because it's actually doing something that actually has an effect. But don't think that won't work on the national stage ever. I don't think.
And you got to go out and campaign for these people. Yeah. If you know a decent local governor, mayor, town councilor, whatever kind of election you're going to put up, campaign for that person. Because not only does nobody else know who your third party candidate is, but nobody knows who your third party candidate is. So get out there and knock on some doors and put some flyers. Volunteer for their campaign.
Or do it yourself.
A third party candidate, whether it's Libertarian or Green Party or whatever, has to start at the ground level. As you said, in the town. Start with your town, your local council. You work up, and if there's enough states that have gone that way, then it might be viable. I mean, but we're talking years down the road, years and years down the road.
You could look right now at the past elections. I know there's people in my town, in my county, that run unopposed all the time. There's nobody that goes against them, so they're the only one person in there. Besides, the write-in of Donald Duck or whatever people do. So there's a way of looking at this and going in and saying, hey, this county over here, they never have anybody that goes against them or whatever. There's a way of looking at it and kind of having some kind of game plan to, do something, but that is local. That's not.
Yeah. I mean, that's sometimes like local sheriffs get voted in all the time because nobody ever runs against them.
Yeah.
I mean, like when I lived in Westerly, Rhode Island, the state, not the federal, but the actual state senator was a Republican, believe it or not, in that damn Democratic state. But he was a Republican, and he had been voted in. I think he over 20 odd years he's been in the state senate, and he never been opposed. There's never had anybody run against him ever. Mm-hmm. So he automatically wins every time.
How about a little name?
I understand where you're coming from.
How about AOC? The guy that she beat never had competition, and then AOC beat him.
Yeah,
and she only got him because of minority vote.
And I think she's going to. Hopefully, there's meant to be somebody running against her this time in 2020, and I hope they beat her.
She's a pretty sharp girl. I can't think of what her name is right now, but I've seen a couple interviews with her. She seems pretty sharp. I don't know enough about her to judge either way, but I mean, wet noodles are sharper than AOC.
Yeah, true.
They don't
I
have
will
quite
say
as
that
nice boobs, but
I will say I like mini AOC.
Anyway, I'm going to wind this up, guys. So let's start. Who we got in the room here? Who's that? Oh, you got any shout outs or plugs, Squib?
Yeah, go vote. Oh, wait, that's not till next November. But yeah, just think about it. You don't think your vote counts, it counts. And I mean, is it really that much trouble to exercise your civic duty? Just think about it.
And also, here's a thought for you. People say, well, it's the Electoral College that wins the presidency, so my vote doesn't count. Wouldn't it be nice for our president, who, you know, like whatever party you're voting for, say, for argument's sake, Republican, Trump, for Trump to win 2020, not only with the Electoral College, but have the, vote as well.
Popular vote? You mean like Reagan did?
You know, wouldn't that be great? So go out there and vote. We're going to start the campaign now.
And also, if you think that just because we have an electoral college, your vote doesn't count, you need to go back and study what the electoral college is. That means your vote does count.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yep. So there you go. So you didn't have any shout outs or plugs, did you, except for voting, right?
That's it.
Okay. Blind Shooter, any plugs or shout outs or anything?
Yeah, whatever higher power you all believe in, make sure you pray to it on Monday that New York City wins its case against the communist bastards that are currently running it.
You're right on there. And add a PS to that prayer that when they come up with the correct answer, they broaden it for it covers the whole United States, not just New York. But if they lose, just keep it to New York only. So, Patriot, any plugs or shout outs?
I just hope everybody had a wonderful week. I'm glad to be back, and hello to everybody out there in chat land, and Sabrina way over there. I always like to mention a good hello.
Yeah, out there in the Netherlands.
Yeah, just pay attention, and if you got anybody in your family or people you used to know and you haven't talked to them, actually, give them a call or something. Don't do the stupid Facebook message, because that's garbage. That's not communication. That's not talking. And obviously, us as a people, we need to learn how to talk again and actually communicate with real people instead of looking at our phones. So make sure you go check out my channel on your phone, and we'll see you guys around. Thanks for having me. All right.
Yeah. Kingpin. Any shout outs or plugs?
Yeah, I'm going to give a quick shout out, obviously, to you, Rick. You're the man. Best dude to hang out with on the entire interwebs. Thanks for having me. And I've got complete faith in our system. It's lasted this long. I got complete faith in American patriots that are going to see that, enough is enough. So even though sometimes I'm a bit gripey about stuff, I still believe in the American dream.
I do too. This is still, one of the greatest. This is the greatest nation still in the world. Even as bad as it is, you still go all to those foreign countries and go look at an American embassy or American consulate, and you'll see lines of people trying to get a visa to come here. So,
and while you're at it, try one of those squatters. Hilarious.
So, all right, that's it. I want to say thank you for everybody in the chat who sat there and listened to this all and threw some comments out there. I might not actually mention you, but I do read them. Sometimes I read one and the conversation's moved on so fast, it's too late to say what you said because we would have to backtrack on the conversation, Oh,
but, can I get one more in real quick, Rick?
Yes, you can.
Today is Saturday, and somewhere around 9, 10, 11 o'clock, the Gun Snob will be going live tonight, and it's his 2,000 subscriber extravaganza. So if you're
Okay.
looking for a really good time to win some prizes and laugh your butt off and really enjoy, check out Gun Snob later tonight.
Well, there you go, everybody. So I want to say thank you all for being here, and I will be back on Wednesday with Shooting with Disabilities. I need some help, guys. Send me some emails with questions you want to ask or topics or anything. Please, it would help me out a lot. You know, Patriot and I are, having a tough time having to think up the questions every week.
What?
So, I'm sorry if I'm speaking there for you, Patriot. It's normally your show anyway, so I just thought I'd take it back.
No way. No way.
It's
back
the Patriot in the Dark show with Rick's Life as I See It.
Well,
Never.
it's Patriot in the Dark show sponsored on Rick's Life as I See It channel. There you go. So I'll be here next. I'll be here. Next Saturday at 3 p.m. But I'll be here Wednesday at 7 p.m. for Rick's Life as I See It, Shooting with Disabilities. So I will see you all then. So everybody have a good rest of your weekend. Hope your Thanksgiving was great and you've done your shopping and all that good stuff. Now we got Christmas coming. All right. So I'll see you all later.
Gobble, gobble.
Enjoy your weekend since you won't be with us next week. So